Look out! It's a remake of a B-grade 80s horror movie Christmas classic. A traumatized young man cosplays as Santa Claus to go after people on the naughty list. However, this time he may have met the love of his life, who's just as unhinged as him. Uh-oh! Get ready to Dexter the halls with buckets of bloody as Santa slays in Silent Night, Deadly Night, the new one. Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, Silent Night, Deadly Night, the remake of the 1984 classic. Directed by Mike P. Nelson, known for directing Wrong Turn the Foundation and a segment in VHS 85, just to name a few. We meet young Billy, who witnessed his parents get brutally deleted in front of him as a child by a man dressed as Santa Claus. And wouldn't you know it, he decides to do the exact same thing as an adult for reasons. He's a drifter that goes from town to town around Christmas time and delete whoever he deems naughty. And of course he takes a souvenir of their blood to add it to his advent calendar. This sounds familiar. He also has an imaginary friend who talks to him in his head to help him to pick who gets deleted and how to get away with it. This sounds familiar. He arrives at a new small town to add some blood to his calendar this year. However, he is stopped in his tracks when he gets a boner for unhinged local woman, Pam. He then decides to hang his hat in this small town and get a job at Pam's father's local trinket store, which of course can only go well. Billy learns that Pam has a creepy ex-boyfriend who just so happens to be a local cop. And there's a child kidnapper on the loose, and kids have been disappearing in this town for quite a while. So there's enough naughty people to keep Billy busy in this town. And the bodies begin to pile up. We learn in this remake that the Santa costume is less of a trigger for Billy, and more of a switch that when he puts it on, he goes full-blown vigilante justice. Thankfully, this film is not a straight-up shot-for-shot remake, and does what most remakes probably should do, and do something different with the source material. In saying that though, they go so far different by the end that for me, I felt like it slightly shat the bed. As expected, we get buckets of bloody good gore galore, every frame looks and feels like Christmas, and the film doesn't bog itself down with the slow burn of Billy's backstory and upbringing like the original does. I mean, they do touch on key moments here and there, but they're more flashbacks instead of a linear storytelling. For the majority of the film, I was definitely on board. It was definitely heavily Dexter inspired, but I was okay with that, seeing that the film was doing something a little bit different with the story. However, as I alluded to earlier on, the reveal, or explanation if you will, for how Billy picks his victims, that's where the film kind of lost me. And I can't continue with this review without going into spoiler territory, so ye be warned. Spoiler alert! The film explains how Billy picks his victims and how he knows that they are naughty. And of course it explains the imaginary friend voice in his head, the voice of Charlie. And in doing this, the film goes full-blown supernatural fuckery. We learn that there's a transference between the last Santa killer and the new one. That when the original killer is pretty much dying, he transfers this vigilante spirit or superpower or whatever to the next killer. So the original Santa killer is Charlie, if you will, and he transfers this killer supernatural power to Billy with some electronic orgasm. It's electrifying! When this reveal happened, I was like, get fucked. I thought this was the dumbest shit the last time I saw it in a horror film. And with the same actor too, I might add. 99% of the time, I love me some Christmas magic in Christmas movies. But for me, in this film, it felt super out of place. Because up until this point, this film was playing it absolutely 100% straight-laced. Like this psychopath is going around and deleting people and justifying it to himself that they're naughty with the voice in his head. But this supernatural transference is lame. I hate everything about it. The film also tackles another cliche trope that I'm getting really sick of seeing. There's a rally of Yahtzees in this film, and Billy mows them all down in an axe-fueled bloodbath. Sounds good at first, and I'm all for bloodbath carnage candy. But this is starting to become tied in movies, at least for me. Not the bloodbath carnage, no, please, keep that coming. But the group of shitheads that the film chooses to use to get mowed down. We need a room full of evildoers to be cannon fodder for the carnage. And what better sacrifice than to chuck a bunch of fascists in the room? Of course we all get it, Yahtzees were very evil people in history. But this is starting to pop up in way too many movies for me. Quentin Tarantino probably kick-started it all because it was kind of fun and left of centre and batshit crazy in Inglourious Bastards. But now it feels like the go-to people for the slaughter. At least in the film The Home, they did this group slaughter in a fun way without using this tired old trope of goose-stepping wankers. Anyway, it's probably everyone's favourite moment in the movie, I dare say. And yes, it is entertaining, but for me, I'm so tired of seeing Yahtzees in films in general. Especially with the kill 'em all in one fell swoop trope. For me, it's getting tired and lazy, and I'm just sick of seeing them. They were evil pieces of shit in history, we get it, but find someone else from now. There's enough evildoers in the world, just take your pick. I will say, though, that the lead actor, Rowan Campbell, does a really good job here. And it seems like he's really becoming some horror alumni. He's good at the violent stuff, but also coming across as vulnerable at times. The big question, though, however, is this better than the original? I'd say it's not better, it's not worse, it's just okay. The 1984 original caused so much outrage and uproar, and so many complaints came from parents that the film had this buzz about it. Like this must be the most horrific, out-of-control horror film that you could lay your eyes on. And it was even banned in certain parts of the world. Even certain places in Australia too, I might add. However, as decent as this film is executed, pardon the pun, it will have nowhere near the buzz around it like the original did. And that's not because the movie is bad at all, no. It's just the times that we're living in. And that could be said about every remake that we get these days. So what's the verdict? It's fine. It was doing something decent with the original material, like I said, mixing it up a little bit, taking heavy inspirations from Dexter, which again, I was totally okay with. But then the supernatural shit came in and it kind of lost me. But even after that, as much as that pissed me off, it's still an okay movie. And in all honesty, yes, I will definitely watch it again. It has some really dark, funny moments too, and enough gore galore to quench your bloodthirst. There's also a few tip of the caps to previous installments in the franchise that will make true fans go, and of course there's most likely going to be a sequel for how this film leaves things. I will say this is worth a watch because at the end of the day, it's still a decent slasher. But I would love to hear your thoughts about the explanation of Billy's superpowers. For fuck's sake, even saying that out loud, Billy's superpowers, it just sounds stupid. Anyway guys, that's my cheeky little review of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2025. Write down below if you've seen it, what are your thoughts on it, but more importantly, what is your favourite Christmas horror film? And of course, if you've made it this far into the episode, please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going, because I just love movies and I assume you do as well. And of course, don't forget to hit that subscribe icon because I give out an episode weekly. And I'll see you back here next week for the next review, but until then, stay merry, folks.